From 365 Deep Dive Studios, it's Wait, Don't Prompt Me, the Microsoft 365 year-end quiz show where everything's made up and the licensing tiers don't matter.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to 365 Deep Dive, December 2025. I'm Andy Honeycutt.
And I'm John Moore. Today, we're going to be doing what Microsoft does best, taking something beloved that already exists, putting our own spin on it, and calling it innovation. How's it going, Andy?
That's right. We're here to look back at 2025, a year when Microsoft announced approximately 4,000 new Copilot features, deprecated 3 products that you've just learned how to use, renamed SharePoint something different in every admin center. Now, before we go any further, we want to acknowledge our inspiration, the legendary NPR quiz show, Wait, Don't Tell Me, hosted by the incomparable Peter Sagal, scorekeeper Bill Curtis, the cast and crew that make that weekly show possible. We are very thankful for you and for the inspiration for today, but we also want to acknowledge the wise and benevolent guidance of the Wait, Don't Tell Me overlord, Doug Berman.
Yes, and Doug, if you're listening, which to be honest, you're probably not, we do want you to know this is a parody coming from a place of deep love and admiration. Also, we don't have any money, so suing us would be the same as getting blood from a SharePoint migration.
We're just a humble YouTube show about Microsoft 365. Our legal budget is literally a shared loop notebook, and that's paid for by MVP credits at this point, and whatever's left on the Starbucks gift card that we had back at the Microsoft Community Conference in 2025.
So accept this heartfelt homage that it is, and we've even prepared a PowerPoint in your honor, and it has fancy transitions.
All right, so let's get into it. Coming up, we've got Who's Bill This Time, featuring some of the latest news in the Microsoft space. We got an incredible panel of Microsoft community experts, technical challenges aside. Hopefully everybody is here. We're going to do Bluff the Listener. We're going to do our own very special version of Not My Job. We've even got some interaction with all of you, the great Microsoft community.
All right. So the lightning fill in the box is also included, bold predictions for 2026. And if we're lucky, at least one panelist will share their screen accidentally and we'll get a peek at their browser tabs.
So it's going to be a good one. We're going to go 2 hours like we normally do. So stay with us. This is Wait, Don't Prompt Me.
All right. So it's time for our first game, which is Who's Bill This Time? This is the game where we revisit Microsoft 365's biggest news stories of the year with actual quotes. Well, mostly actual quotes. And since we couldn't afford Bill Curtis, I'll be reading the quotes along with Andy. And I've been told that my voice is very adequate for a Teams call with poor reception. So we'll see how that goes.
So all of the quotes actually come from Microsoft 365 news and announcements from this year. They are going to be bold. They're going to be visionary, but they're also going to be just vague enough to sound important.
All right. Let's welcome our first caller. She's a Microsoft MVP, a M365 community leader, and someone who's probably forgotten more about SharePoint than most of us will ever know. Emily Mancini, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Oh, well, let's move you to the right spot.
There we
here.
go. Hi, Emily.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well,
Awesome.
we're really excited to have you here today to play this game, which is going to be Who's Bill this time. As somebody who has admittedly a fan of the show, I'm sure you know how it goes, but just for our audience out there, here's how this is actually going to work. We're going to read you a quote from some recent Microsoft 365 news or announcements. We're going to give you a couple of choices, and then you're going to tell us who's Bill this time. You ready to play?
Ready to play. Do I get a voice on my answering machine if I win?
We will phone a friend, see who we can get from Redmond, and we'll try to get somebody cool for you.
Sounds
That's a
great.
great idea.
All right.
All right.
So, quote number 1. Copilot is no longer just an assistant. It's becoming the interface for how work gets done. Was this said by Satya, Jared Spataro, or a Microsoft product manager 5 minutes before the doors at Ignite opened?
I'm going to go with Jared.
And the
All
answer
right.
is Jared Spataro. Yes, Jared Spataro has said that Copilot is no longer just an assistant; it's the interface for how work gets done. I think we've seen a little bit of that over the last couple of years. There's been some changes that have been a little painful for some of our users. There's been some changes that have introduced some new features and some new functionality. So it's interesting to see the direction that they're going with this.
Mm-hmm. And if something is said about Copilot redefining work, there's a pretty good chance that Jared said it. So good guess, Emily.
All right, let's head into our next quote.
All right. The next quote is, we're not satisfied with you as a customer if you're only using us for email. That was either Jeff Teeper, was it Satya Nadella, or any blog post from any year since 2017.
All of the above.
You know what? That was going to be an acceptable answer for us, but technically it was Satya Nadella, but we were going to accept all of the above. Great job, Emily. So in this quote, Satya was making the case that M365 is no longer just about Word, Excel, and Outlook. It's about Copilot being embedded in everything across the board: your email, your documents, your meetings, maybe even your refrigerator. But that might come out, next Ignite in 2026. I might be able to ask like, hey, Copilot, what's expired in my fridge? And it can reply back, everything, John, just like your E3 trial license that you need to go renew. All right. Moving on to quote 3. You want to take this one, Andy?
All right, here's our final quote. This is basically Microsoft saying, we've heard you like SharePoint, so we're going to put SharePoint in your SharePoint. This was a community member reacting to what announcement that lets users create AI-powered assistants directly from their content. Is it A, Microsoft 365 Copilot, B, SharePoint agents, or C, the knowledge agent?
Talking about my favorite thing with my favorite thing with my favorite thing.
Right.
I'm going to go with SharePoint agents.
And it is SharePoint agents. Congratulations. Microsoft announced that you can now build Copilot agents directly from your SharePoint sites. So if you've ever wanted an AI that's trained exclusively on your organization's outdated HR policies and broken links, your moment has arrived. All right.
Finally, a bot that knows exactly where that 2019 fiscal year report is buried.
I love it. So that wraps up the Who's Bill this time. But Emily, we're going to bring you back, for the panel and for everything else along the way. Thank you for surviving the last few minutes of our cringy little game show. But I was wondering if, before we take you off screen, could you tell us a little bit about what's coming up with M365 Miami 2026?
Absolutely. So on Friday, February 6th, we're going to have a free all-day conference in Miami, downtown. We're going to have 33 different speakers, including employees from Microsoft MVPs, other industry leading experts, bringing, of course, that Latin flavor. We're going to be having Copilot focus, security, Power Platform, modern work. So come join us for 60-minute sessions all day, networking. We would love to have you join us.
And I would imagine that the weather is going to be pretty awesome in Miami versus many other parts of the country, as someone who typically would vacation down in the Florida Keys in late February.
Yeah, I can guarantee 75 to 80 degrees, so definitely don't miss out.
So we're going to go ahead and put it on all of our users, our attendees out there. We expect to see you at the conference in Miami coming up here in February 2026. So make sure you attend. Take advantage of that great weather.
All right. And that's Emily Mancini, everyone. We're going to bring her back on for some more shows later on in the panel here. So it's time to meet our panel of experts, and we'll get that screen up here in just a second. So, Andy, you want to start introducing some of our panelists here today?
Absolutely. So they're MVPs, they're speakers, they're consultants, they're opinion havers, and they've definitely read the Microsoft roadmap. This is going to be our panel discussion. We're doing a little bit of troubleshooting. Looks like we got one more panelist that we need to bring into the fold. So we will get her there in just a second. So we're going to start off a brief introduction, let you know who is coming on the screen while we do the troubleshooting. I'll actually start with panelist number 2, Daryl Webster. He's a technologist, speaker, comes from New Zealand, but he's also someone who can turn any conversation into a thoughtful discussion about productivity, adoption, or why it depends, as being the correct answer to most of the queries that he gets. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Daryl Webster.
Oh, I feel so welcome. I also like being shuffled around like it's one of those little puzzles. It's kind
Right.
of cool on the screen, yeah.
Isn't it great how it keeps the positioning just like I said it earlier?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Daryl, and joining us every month pretty much throughout the year in a very early time for you.
You guys join me when I'm making
seeing you.
pancakes, and you're right there, and I'm making coffee, and I'm laughing, and I'm bopping out to that cool little digital tune you open the show with. It's awesome.
Oh, I love it. All right. Andy, you want to bring on the next one, Al?
Absolutely. So our next panelist, friend of the show, he is a longtime Microsoft MVP, architect, consultant, and a man who has looked into the abyss of the legacy SharePoint customizations and somehow has emerged with his sanity mostly intact. He's based in South Africa, which means he's joining us here at an hour that can only be described as commitment. Everyone, please welcome to the show, Alistair Pugin.
What time is it for you right now, Al?
Sorry, what's that, John?
What time is it for you?
It's almost 9:30 p.m. But you know, if you look at myself and Daryl in the old days, it didn't matter, right? I mean, with Dan in the US, myself sort of stuck in the middle, and Daryl and Lorian on the far end of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It was always just shuffling things between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. So this is perfectly fine for me.
Well, that's dedication or poor calendar management. But thank you for joining us, Alistair. Either way, we appreciate you very much. And I think Jill, she is set to locked out, but we'll see if she's able to chat with us. Jill is a Microsoft MVP, an M365 expert, and someone who's seen more things in client tenants that would make lesser consultants weep. She's once described her job as professional untangler of bad decisions made in 2014. Please welcome Jill Hanneman.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
We can absolutely hear you.
Oh my gosh. I am locked out. I am delighted to be here. I wish you all could see me.
We saw you for a little bit and then back to black.
The joy of being live on air. No, so I'm based in the Pacific Northwest. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to do a little trash talking on our favorite topics, Microsoft and SharePoint. So thanks for having me.
Well,
that's awesome.
We're stoked that you're here. Appreciate your patience as we are working through some of the technical issues. At least we're able to hear you. We'll continue to work behind the scenes with you, see if we can't get you on camera at some point. If nothing else, we will make sure that we take some virtual selfies with you in some format and share that out with the audience. But appreciate your patience trying to work through the technical issues and sticking with us here today.
All right. So to set things up, panel, this is how it's going to work. We're going to ask you some questions about M365. You'll answer with confidence, and then we'll decide whether that confidence was justified. There's no wrong answers here, just hallucinations. All right. Let me get this on screen here, and we'll bring up our first question, Andy. There we go. Oh, doesn't that look nice?
We spared no expense.
Right?
All right. So, Daryl, you're up first with question number 1. Microsoft has been on a mission to simplify its product lineup. And by simplify, I mean consolidate 5 apps into one app that does everything those 5 apps did, but now you can't find anything. So this year, Microsoft announced that To Do, Planner, and Project are merging into one unified experience. What's the name of this new consolidated app?
Would that be Copilot Agent for Planner? I thought you were talking about Copilot to start with. Sorry.
So yes, that is Microsoft Planner, aka the new Planner, aka the artist formerly known as Planner, and Project, and still known as Planner. It's different from the old Planner, which still exists in some places alongside To Do, which is also still there. So, Microsoft, they summarize things by having 3 apps become one app that lives along the other apps that also still exist. So crystal clear.
And in full disclosure, this is an announcement that was actually made at the end of 2024, and it is still ongoing here as we get into 2026. It seems like this is the never-ending adjustments or updates to Planner.
Can I ask, guys, what do they do when they've used the new label too much? Will it be the new plan or final version?
I mean, that's what end users do whenever they need to work with version history and rename documents in their libraries.
Right, _final. Yeah.
They'll call it Copilot and then go back to Planner after everyone's forgotten Planner as the original name.
The HBO Max model. All right. Next up, Jill, this one is for you, if you can still hear us. At Ignite 2024 and again at Ignite 2025, Microsoft announced a brand refresh for one of its most enduring products. This product has been the butt of jokes for over 2 decades, got a new visual identity, new templates, and Microsoft described it as the intelligent content collaboration platform.
I'm gonna think about that one for a second. Someone asked me the other day, one of my customers, is SharePoint going away? So I think the answer is SharePoint.
You are correct. It is SharePoint. Microsoft
The answer is always SharePoint.
Always, yeah.
The answer is always SharePoint.
Yeah. So once again, they unveiled that new SharePoint brand, complete with a new logo, new colors, new messaging designed to make everyone forget every trauma they've experienced with it since 2001. All right.
Intelligent collaboration content platform. It's really a long way of saying this is the place where your files are going to go to get lost.
Yeah, I mean,
there was never trauma outside of the user profile service, right? That's the only trauma anyone's had with SharePoint. Everyone's been using it wrong for the last 24 years.
Yeah.
It's simple math.
Everyone always asks what's after modern era. It's the postmodern era.
It's the new modern era, maybe.
Not if Microsoft marketing gets a hold of it. It's going to be the Copilot era.
Well, we all need to refresh our stickers.
Yes.
I did see a snazzy new animation for SharePoint when a screen was loading the other day. They've animated the most recent revision of the SharePoint logo, and I must admit, it was a pretty snazzy animation.
But how many times do you see it a day, Andy? I see it in just about every site I visit.
That is the question. I mean, it really depends on your user adoption journey. Not to geek out too much on that, but we're directing most of our users through Teams these days. And so some of the time they don't even know that SharePoint exists. So to the point that Jill made earlier, is SharePoint going away when they're working through Teams and it's kind of hidden behind the scenes? They don't know that it's there. So might not be seeing that as often as we used to when we were running through SharePoint for daily processes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We ready to move on to question number 3? Alistair, this one's for you. So in May 2025, Microsoft officially pulled the plug on a beloved communication platform.
It's Yammer, right? It's Yammer. Did they pull the plug on Yammer? No. Okay.
It's the year of
Continue.
hammer.
We'll give you a second guess. So after 21 years, they pulled the plug on it. At its peak, 300 million users. By the end, there were about 36 million people out there that were desperately clinging to nostalgia. Users were encouraged to migrate over to Teams. Contacts and chats were supposed to automatically transfer. What iconic communication platform did Microsoft finally retire in 2025?
That's an easy answer. It has to be Skype, right?
That's right.
Good one. All right. That's right. That's Skype. After 2 decades of, can you hear me now? And you're on mute. Wait, that's Microsoft Teams. We've officially shuffled off to join Clippy. Skype is now in the great Microsoft graveyard and will be ever missed.
Microsoft describes this transition as the next chapter, which we all know is corporate speak for please stop asking us to maintain 2 video calling apps.
Yeah, in fairness, Skype had a good run. It revolutionized how we communicated online, and it just couldn't survive in a world where Zoom exists and your grandmother has learned to use FaceTime now. So goodbye, Skype. All right, the next one here, going on to question number 4, is for Emily. At October 2025 Copilot and OneDrive event, Microsoft announced that they've called the biggest update in sharing in 365 in over a decade. This new system simplifies sharing by creating a single primary link that governs access, identical to the address URL, and you can update permissions without changing that link, and Copilot can even generate a summary so that recipients get the context of that file. What is that feature?
Jill.
Oh, hey, Jill.
Biggest update, or like return to what we used to have. I need a hero. Hero link, my friend.
You got it. That is totally correct. Thank you.
So Microsoft has finally acknowledged what we've all known for years, that the sharing links are, to put it bluntly, confusing. We got the anyone link, people in org, specific people. People were in the building on a Tuesday when Mercury was in retrograde. What do all of those links actually mean?
Yeah, so it's designed to reduce those dreaded access denied moments. It's one link to rule them all finally. You can even change permissions without having to send a new link, and everyone is a little bit less confused.
And Copilot can generate a summary before you share, so the recipient actually knows what they're going to be opening. We don't have to put some manual work into that. That's a quick win. I actually really like that one. So it adds a little bit of context to what they're getting.
Yeah, it's the experience that we've all hoped for about 10 years, but hey, better late than never. All right, question number 5. Let's go on here. And Daryl, this one is for you. Back in the hot seat. So in 2025, Microsoft retired a SharePoint feature that was introduced back in 2018. It was designed to let users create immersive 3D mixed reality experiences right inside of SharePoint, complete with 360-degree images, 3D objects, and virtual environments. Microsoft cited limited usage as the reason for retirement and suggested that everyone move to Microsoft Mesh instead. What was that feature?
Well, John, as an exclusive member of the SharePoint Spaces MVP category, I would say it's SharePoint Spaces. And I think you were one of the other members.
I was maybe the only one who created a video about SharePoint Spaces and found an actual use for it. So gone and, mostly forgotten still, honestly.
I still remember when this was announced in 2018 at the SharePoint conference, and I remember walking out of the room, and a lot of people around me were like, what in the world are we going to use for this? And immediately thought a couple of use cases, but they were definitely niche. And sadly, I was kind of hoping that we would see some more in that space, because it was really trying to bring that immersive 3D experience that has eventually started to mature all these years later, 6 or 8 years later. I was really hoping we were going to see the ability to, walk 3D through our human resource policies.
That sounds exciting.
Right?
Did any of you
Microsoft
get
said,
to try it? Did any of you actually like wear the 3D goggles and like experience Fabricam or Contoso?
I never did the 3D experience, but I did make a walkthrough that I made a video about, which was a 360 picture of a conference room. And then we labeled all of the items on the table for the Microsoft Teams room so that the person could basically walk into the virtual conference room and then click, the panel to see how to join a meeting and click the screen to see how to share their screen and all of that. That was back in the COVID days whenever people couldn't physically get into the office. But when they came in, they were going to have a brand new experience. So we put together a SharePoint space for that. And, as Microsoft said, the reason that they, retired it was limited usage, which I think is corporate speak for we built it and about 7 people used it. And I think maybe those 7 people were at my organization for those MTR guides. So
I think most of the 7 people are on this call.
Right.
Well, Joel Ollison used it quite extensively. I mean, they had a conference one here in COVID where they had a separate section for people who wanted to join using Spaces. So he was quite a big advocate for it. In sort of 2020. I think it was it was May, June 2020. I remember when we had that, 24, 36-hour continuous conference across the globe.
I remember that, the virtual marathon.
Virtual marathon.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I think it had a lot of promise. I remember envisioning use cases, training use cases, ways to do virtual onboarding.
Yeah, man, many thoughts about SharePoint Spaces. Who would have thought, Andy? All right, you want to take this next question, Andy?
Absolutely. So this one's for Al. At Ignite 2025, Microsoft's got a big announcement about SharePoint's evolving role in the AI space. They declared SharePoint as the knowledge platform for Copilot and agents. And as part of this, they've introduced a new public preview. This public preview is going to allow you to leverage the sites and content. It's going to scope those into agents. It's going to answer questions about your content. In just 2 months, over 1,800 people have already signed up for this public preview. What's this feature called?
Well, it's confusing though. Every site gets an agent, and you can build an agent, right? So you got the SharePoint agent, and then you've got the syntax on steroids agent called the knowledge agent. So it must be one of those two.
We would accept either one of those answers, but you hit them both. Awesome. This is the knowledge agent that they announced. It's currently in the preview program.
Yeah. And that means that now you can build AI agents directly from your SharePoint content. So if you've ever wanted a chatbot that knows everything about your organization's outdated intranet policies, broken links, and a document from 2017 that nobody's updated, again, this is your time to shine.
Well, so yeah, the SharePoint agent one will give you that. The knowledge agent is really around document understanding, where in the old days, you'd go build a model inside of Syntax, give it a bunch of classifiers, throw a bunch of files at it for it to extract metadata and map it back to the classifiers. That functionality I've tested when they drop the knowledge agent, because that'll do extraction without you having to train the model. It's amazing. And then obviously the normal agent that you stick on top of a document library or it's attached to a SharePoint site, that'll give you that go ask an agent to go find a document from 2017.
Yeah, so smart enough to answer your questions, but probably still not quite smart enough to fix your permissions issues in SharePoint.
Nothing can fix that.
I think we're still looking for the architecture agent at this point.
They call that job security. All right.
That's the new employee self-service agent.
Right. All right. The last question here is for Jill. And this is at Microsoft Ignite 2025. Microsoft unveiled something called Work IQ, described as the intelligence layer that enriches Microsoft 365 Copilot. It connects your context, your workflows, relationships, and delivers personalized experience. One of those key features allows Copilot to remember details about your styles, habits, and preferences across those conversations. Which specific feature of Work IQ lets Copilot remember things for you?
So you would have had to have been sleeping through the keynote, which maybe some people were, but I'm going to say Copilot memory.
Oh, you got it. Copilot memory is right. Microsoft has given the Copilot the ability to remember things about you, your preferences, your work styles, your habits, all of that.
Now it's
So this has been the promise. This has been the promise for
Yeah.
quite some time now, and I cannot wait to really experience the memory.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, because it's going to remember like bullet points and formal language, but it's also going to remember that I wrote that passive aggressive email to Kevin in accounting back in March.
Ooh, yeah.
One of my first experiences with Copilot remembering something was actually a training, a Copilot workshop I did in October of 2023, like early days of EAP, right before it went GA. And at the time, you could send a couple of emails and it would start to pick up on your word choice and tone and how you were actually writing. And someone asked me in the back of the room, they're like, can you give it a persona? And I'm like, what, you want me to make it talk like a pirate? So I made it talk like a pirate. And for the rest of the week, it talked like a pirate. And it took a couple of weeks for me to like get it to stop talking like a pirate, because we didn't have that control for custom instructions.
Go update that. Yeah. So it's like having an assistant for perfect memory recall, which is either really helpful or pretty terrifying, depending on how you feel about AI knowing about your email habits and how you either accept or decline meeting invites.
But I will say it does do this. Based on your history, it can say, hey, you typically ignore this meeting invite. You want me to go ahead and decline it for you? Saves me a couple of clicks.
Hey, I like that. I
Nice.
almost used the new feature today for booking my out of office, where it says, do you want to clear your calendar? And it basically just like wipes out everything on the calendar for those dates. I've never been brave enough to click that button yet.
I would be more inclined to say follow everything. That way I can catch up on it later on, versus like just declining and clearing.
It feels like such a power
Copilot
move,
has
though.
they say Copilot has great work IQ and long-term memory, which means it remembers everything you've done at work, but somehow still can't remember why this meeting exists.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that wraps our panel questions. Great work, everybody. You've proven that you've been keeping up with all of the news announcements and updates, but let's be honest, for those of us in this space, it's pretty much a lifestyle choice at this point.
All right. So up next, it's time for Bluff the Listener, where our panelists will try to fool you with outrageous stories. One is fake, and we'll see if you can spot it. So here's how it's going to work. We got 3 panelists we're going to bring back on stage, and each one is going to tell you a story about a strange or surprising or downright unbelievable moment from the world of 365 in the past year. 2 of these stories are true, and 1 is completely made up.
So your job as the live audience chiming in, whether you're on LinkedIn or whether you're on YouTube, is to figure out which story's fake. Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll take a vote after all the stories have gone through, and we'll actually reveal the correct answer.
All right. So keep in mind that Microsoft has done some genuinely weird things this year. So just because a story sounds ridiculous doesn't mean it's actually not true. All right, let's get everybody up here back on the screen. There we go. Bring Jill back. There we go. Oh my gosh.
Can we
fighting
get
me
Daryl
today
on the screen?
I can't figure out how to get Daryl on the screen. We can hear you, but we can't see you. Maybe what I can do is just do contain. There we go. Well, let's do it that way.
There we go. There's Daryl.
Gosh.
Daryl was hiding in the cloud for the last segment, even though he was there. Right. This is like the equivalent of being in the meeting but not on camera.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Totally wasn't multitasking, right?
He's shooting the latest video for Modern Work Mentor while he's here with us this morning.
Yep. All right. So, Andy, you want to kick off story number 1? Who we got for that?
Story number 1 is for Jill. Did you get the PDF?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You're ready. All right.
Okay, I'm ready to bluff you all. All right. In January 2025, Microsoft rebranded the Microsoft 365 app. You know, the one you used to call Office, to the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Yes, even if you don't have a Copilot license, the app is now called Microsoft 365 Copilot. But that's not all. Microsoft also changed the web URLs. If you type in office.com or Microsoft365.com, you're now automatically redirected to a brand new address, m365.cloud.microsoft. That's right, they finally killed office.com after years of it being the go-to destination for millions of users, including myself. The rebrand included a new icon, a redesigned interface, and the removal of features like My Day and the organization logo from the header. Microsoft said the changes were meant to simplify the user experience, which, as we all know, is what Microsoft says right before making something more confusing. The internet's reaction was predictable. One commenter summed it up: "We went from Office to Office 365 to Microsoft 365 to Microsoft 365 Copilot. At this point, I'm just waiting for them to rename it Microsoft 365 Copilot AI Cloud Productivity Hub."
The death of office.com and yet another rebrand. Thank you, Jill. All right, next up, Al.
What are we talking about? Why am I here? What's going on?
Let's make it up, Alistair, and there are no points.
All right. So let's go back to early 2025. Microsoft gave Copilot customers a surprise gift, which I kind of liked, called SharePoint Advanced Management. Previously, a $3 per user per month add-on was now included free with Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses. SharePoint Advanced Management, or SAM, as we passionately used to talk about it, is a suite of governance and security tools that helped IT admins manage content sprawl, prevent oversharing, and control what Copilot can access. It also includes features like data access governance, which was really cool, some reports around site lifecycle management, and a whole bunch of policies, restricted content discovery, which they also rebranded, which lets you hide specific sites from Copilot results entirely. Also, it removes it from the SharePoint search index, right? So nobody can search for stuff anyway. Microsoft positioned this as essential for Copilot readiness. Not that anyone actually did anything with it, but after all, if Copilot can reason over your entire SharePoint environment, you probably want to make sure it's not again surfacing embarrassing 2017 marketing deck that never should have been shared with everyone except external users. The catch, the rollout was slow and nobody wanted to pay for it. And let's say characteristically Microsoft, some admins saw SAM features light up in their tenant immediately. Others were left staring at a banner that said SharePoint Advanced Management is enabled, while none of the features actually worked. We saw that at the beginning of the year when they made the announcement, but hey, free is free eventually. And in very much the same way that you're getting Security Copilot now free with your E5, we don't know what people are actually going to do with SharePoint Advanced Management.
Right. A $3 per user feature now included for free with Copilot. If you can figure out the licensing, just incredible. All right. Next up is Daryl. Are you ready to share your story with the group?
I am. And I'm ready to completely disagree with Jill. I think she's got it all wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. Like this was in September 2025. It feels like it was only yesterday, probably because it just about was. But, Microsoft made this stunning announcement that they were bringing back Office.com, not killing it, bringing it back as a standalone destination. Yeah, separate from the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, separate. And this is, according to Microsoft, it was because of overwhelming customer feedback. Now, I wonder if it's one of the big Microsoft customers that said, "I'm sorry, we're not ready for this yet. You can retire in 10 years, but please bring it back, bring it back." So following that January rebrand, it was really confusing. Users complained that this new domain, m365.cloud.microsoft URL, was too long, too confusing, too hard to remember, maybe? Yeah, of course. So it was impossible to remember. IT departments reported support tickets from users that they thought they'd been phished and they saw this unfamiliar domain. Absolutely, I heard that. So in a blog post, it was titled, "We Heard You." Sort of a few of these this year, actually, "We Heard You" posts. They announced that Office.com would return as a classic experience for users who prefer the traditional interface without Copilot integration. It's a bit like all of those consumer customers who said, how do we get Office without Copilot? So, we heard you. They brought back that classic experience. They resurrected Office.com, which really was always there, wasn't it? And would feature the original blue Office logo, a familiar top header, and the organization's branding, none of the AI features. Microsoft called it Office Classic, internally, that is, and the rollout began in October 2025. I think it's arrived in mine. I don't know about you guys, but it's certainly there in my tenant as one of those early access customers. Microsoft spokesman said, "We recognize that not everyone or every user is ready for an AI experience. Office.com gives them a familiar home while they are transitioning at their own pace." The announcement was met with relief from nostalgic users and eye rolls from IT admins who now had 2 portals to support. You got it. Come on, that's the believable story, right?
Yes, thank you, Daryl.
So Microsoft bringing back Office.com after customer backlash, a redemption arc. All right, so just a brief recap of the 3 stories, and then we want our audience to chime in with what they think the true story, what the fake story of the 3 actually is.
Yeah. So first, story number 1 from Jill is Microsoft rebranding the M365 app to M365 Copilot and killing off Office.com, redirecting everyone to m365.cloud.microsoft. Story number 2 from Al is SharePoint Advanced Management, previously a $3 user add-on, is now included free with Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses to help you with governance and Copilot readiness. And then last but not least, story number 3 from Daryl. After massive customer backlash, Microsoft brought back Office.com as Office Classic experience for users who don't want Copilot integration.
All right, so for the audience out there, let us know in the comments whether you are on LinkedIn or on YouTube, which story of the 3 is the fake story.
All right, show of hands on the panel here. Raise your hand if you think Jill's story about Copilot rebrand is fake. Anybody?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm off camera, but oh, yeah.
Off camera, Daryl believes that it's total nonsense. Jill's not even sure herself, it sounds like. So that's
I'm so
great.
convincing.
Right? The opposing views don't believe each other or themselves. And who thinks Daryl's story about the Microsoft bringing back Office.com is fake? So the opposite of Jill's story. Anybody not believe that one?
I just got to call out an old friend of the show too, Phil Worrell. Come on now, mine wasn't fake.
I would have believed it if he said, instead of "we hear you," he said that the telemetry told us to bring it back. I would have been right there with you, my friend.
That would have been very good. We got a few
Way
people
more believable.
not believing Daryl. As much as I want to believe anything in a Kiwi accent, Daryl's is the bluff, says Sandy.
Well said, Sandy. Well said.
I love it. And nobody is guessing Alistair's because everybody totally believes in Microsoft's benevolence of giving things away for free.
When you don't get consumption of a platform, you either retire the entire platform or you give it away for free, right?
Of course, yeah.
So it started with SharePoint Advanced Management. We're now getting Security Copilot. You're getting SCUs, so Security Compute Units, for free with E5. So I'm very happy that Microsoft is throwing things at customers when customers haven't been using it, to the benefit of said customer because they wouldn't want to pay. We're just waiting for the full-blown Viva. Is Viva still a thing? Real question.
Oh yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Well, all the other ones, because that was a $12 bolt-on, right? And then it dropped to like $9, and then you could buy the individual ones for like $2-3 a pop. And then nobody bought it, and we were learning was supposed to be this new hub, and that never happened. And
Yeah.
is it still a thing?
The Viva still has goals.
Yeah. All right. What happened to my screen? Oh, there we go. Okay. So I think that's enough time for votes. The fake story was the office.com is still dead, Daryl.
Come on.
Complete lies.
That's right. Microsoft has not brought back office.com as a classic experience, as much as we would beg, plead, bribe, and even blackmail them to actually do that to help with our user adoption journeys. Seems that once they kill something, it stays dead. We'll just ask Cortana or Microsoft Phone.
How many of you still use office.com to direct people to m365.cloud.microsoft?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I type it 100 times a day.
It's just a lifeline, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, how do you get anywhere?
And it was dead simple. So simple. Office.com. I mean, it maybe copilot.com was taken, but it was so much easier than what it's redirected to. I know when talking with all of our guests and inviting them on the show, we mentioned that we wanted to kind of limit some of the spicy feedback a little bit. But admittedly, we included this particular topic because it has been a topic of conversation that continues to pick up speed and pace and audience in the greater Microsoft community. So we want to hear from the audience. We want to know, what are you seeing out there with your users? Because I know with our customers, we're experiencing the pain, and it's causing a lot of friction for users. And if there's a greater path or journey for Microsoft, I'd love to hear a little bit about that roadmap, especially when you're so famous for all the roadmaps and changes and what's coming down the pipeline. Just let us know where we're headed so that we can maybe start that conversation and get people pointed in the right direction.
Yep. All right. You want to move on to the next segment, Andy?
Yes, let's keep it moving. This next one's going to be a lot of fun. Not that they all haven't been with all the technical challenges and screen layouts and this and that, but having a blast so far. So next up, we have our Not My Job special interview, where we invite a special guest and we ask them something about something that they know absolutely nothing about.
And our guest today spent 20 years at Microsoft, where he became one of the most recognized voices in the SharePoint community. He's been a senior product marketing manager, a community evangelist, and the man behind countless blog posts, videos, presentations about SharePoint and Microsoft 365, and even including the Intrazone.
He's also the person who had to, with a straight face, explain the difference between Microsoft lists and SharePoint lists to executives, end users, and probably even his own family members at Thanksgiving dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mark Cashman.
Insert applause graphic here. Hey, Mark, glad for you to join us. There you are.
All right. Thank you. It has been great listening and watching all of the hullabaloo. It is very fun to be here. I love the concept of the show, and thank you for inviting me to be on it. Can I throw in a couple of thoughts just because I was having fun in the background? First, I just want to let Jill know that I had your back if you weren't able to connect. And I am also in the Pacific Northwest, so I feel like I was taking all the video bandwidth, so apologies, but glad that you got back on. I also thought if you zoomed in on Alistair's forearm, you would have actually seen it say office.com and then struck out, and then Microsoft365.com struck out, Microsoft 365 Copilot app. And I bet he's got a scheduled appointment to get the strike through ready. And then my last thing is I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Emily's singing of "Did You Ever Know You're My Hero?" That was a very nice touch.
All right. So, Mark, you're an expert on Microsoft lists. So we thought it would only be fair to ask you about something you know nothing about.
Yes.
So today we're going to quiz you on famous lists throughout history. So that's right. Not Microsoft lists, not SharePoint lists. We're talking about the other kind of list, which is every other kind. Ones that shaped history, culture, and occasionally got people in serious trouble.
Okay. Are these well conditionally formatted historical lists?
We'll see. I don't know if we had enough time. So
Well, our friend
really
Jason
prep
couldn't
that.
make it to the show, so I'm not sure how conditionally formatted it's going to be. But
All right.
answer 2 out of 3 questions correctly, and you're going to win a prize for one of our listeners. We don't know what the prize is, and we don't know what listeners going to get it. We're making it up as we go along, so no pressure. Literally, no pressure. So you've spent your entire career working with lists, just not these lists. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. First, let's talk about the most widely referenced list in human history, Santa's naughty and nice list.
Yes, I've been familiar with that, and I may have used and abused the concept of it because I have now grown children, but when they were younger, we threatened. I use that word lightly, but I may have mentioned it in a way that would encourage good behavior, if you know what I mean.
Of course.
Now, according to the
right.
song, Santa knows when you've been sleeping, knows when you're awake, knows when you've been bad or good, which in 2025 sounds less like Christmas magic and more like a GDPR violation.
It does. I was just going to say, let's get HR on the call here. If I can do a phone a friend, is this okay?
So here's your question, Mark. According to a 2023 survey, what percentage of American adults admitted they would probably be on Santa's naughty list? Is it A, 18, B, 34, or C, 52%?
I'm going to go with a high margin because I think secretly everybody wants to be on the naughty list because aren't we all a little naughty every once in a while? So I'm going to go with 52%.
You're going to go with 52%.
Okay, let's reveal the answer here. The answer is
Oh,
34%.
right in the
About
middle.
a third of American adults admitted that they probably land on the naughty list, and the other 2/3 are lying.
So you're actually
Now-
probably
now-
closer to the truth there.
I was just about to say, what to you, John and Andy, what do you think if that same person, if you asked their closest relative, partner, friend, the same question about them, what would they say about their friend? Would a friend reveal the truth and that percentage would go up?
They would say 60% of the time they're lying every time.
Yeah, I think it depends on if you've allowed anonymous questions in your team's live event.
Very nice. Well said.
Yeah. All right. So, Mark, as a list expert, do you think Santa uses a choice column for naughty or nice, or do you think he has a more sophisticated scoring system?
I honestly think he actually keeps, and I believe Miss Claus as well, she's probably doing most of the work with the elves, that there's a metadata store term set that has everybody listed who gets a trip and a visit from Santa. So it's a giant centrally managed list of all the human beings and good and bad people in the world. And then he uses what doesn't exist as a lookup column that then looks up the managed metadata across sites, across the world, across various languages. And he has a very intricate, robust solution that he's put in place that's actually still running on premises. I've been trying to get him to move to the cloud, but he says it's a once a year list usage kind of thing. So he's happy with SharePoint 2010. That's, trying to get him upgraded, trying to get him to move. But so far, that's where it's at.
I love it.
Do you think they've actually added a Power Automate flow that sends coal automatically?
I think they do. I just don't think Santa knows about it. I think the elves and anybody helping him is pretty fluent on that. So I'd say a flow exists, and I bet maybe even it's got a little bit of some Microsoft Graph / AI early days smarts in it.
Yeah. Maybe when an item is created with a nice score less than 50%, it sends an email attachment with the coal attached.
That's good.
That would be pretty smart. Yeah.
You think it's an email attachment or a link instead of an attachment?
Oh, they're old school. I think they're still doing attachments.
Yeah,
for sure. So. Yeah.
Santa's not going to be a hero.
Yeah, maybe we can, if they can, get on board with the modern way of doing things, then they can do a customer client story for Microsoft in the future. That would be pretty interesting.
I would think that would be a fantastic idea. And, he
Love it.
has plenty of time year round. So maybe not on the 25th, but catch him any other day. He should have plenty of time to get
Oh,
scheduled.
sure. Yeah. All right, Andy, you want to cover the next question here?
So, speaking of lists with names in them, let's talk about Craigslist, the classified ads website that launched back in 1995. It's amazing to think how long ago that actually was,
I know,
and
it's crazy.
somehow still looks exactly the same today.
Right? I mean, it's nice that something is, stable in this world. The site was founded by an actual Craig Newmark, who started it as an email list for friends in San Francisco before it became, whatever it is at this current point. So here's your question, Mark.
Ready.
What was the original purpose of Craig Newmark's email list that eventually became Craigslist?
Well, it would be easy to say that it was, I have something to sell or some information to pass along. So it's sort of like a step up from a BBS server, but be something that could people could submit, their wares and their services. I'm going to stick with that because I can't think of anything else.
Let
I know that.
Let me make it easier for you. I'll give you 3 options here.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we'll not be too
Forgot about that.
Selling used furniture? Was it for local events in San Francisco, or was it for finding roommates? 3 things you can use Craigslist for. Which one was first?
Gosh, I think it's either selling used furniture or finding roommates. I'm going to do like they do on Wait. I'm going to see if I can hear from the audience. Is it A? Is it B? Is it C?
Right. As they scream into their LinkedIn
I'm going to locked in from LinkedIn and say A. Selling used furniture.
So let's reveal the answer. It is actually B, local events and happenings in San Francisco. Craig started this in 1995 as a simple email list sharing local events, art happenings, tech meetups for friends, and it evolved to a place where you can buy a haunted couch at 2 a.m. now. So, yeah.
I love it. I know that there are some dark corners of Craigslist. There was always the way that it grew. I had one kind of interesting in the Wayback Zone was one of those, I saw you reach outs, and it was one of those things that I somehow came across it or was looking at it, and it just had a text exchange with the individual that, hey, you saw me at this place, and followed up. It didn't materialize into any other strange or fun experience, but it was a real event, and it was because of Craigslist. And I'm surprised it's not just known as Craig, like Angie's List is now Angie. I was expecting him, Craig, to follow Angie's lead.
So, Mark, do you think Craig ever regrets not building his list in SharePoint?
Every single day, I believe he's grateful that he didn't. Only because through all the upgrades and probably the growth and experience, it would have been a very expensive journey versus however they eventually did it.
And to be fair, SharePoint probably has much better governance than Craigslist. Fewer scams, less haunted couches. Maybe a little bit more outdated metadata.
I think it's probably lack of metadata. You have all the metadata in it because some of those is just all text, and it's a lot of text. But I think one of the big things that I can't quite remember if this is 100% true or not, but there was some notion of somebody tried to buy out Craig or Craigslist, and
really
he said no. He just wanted to keep it simple and free and easy. And if that's half true or not true, I don't know. But I feel like I remembered something about that where it was sort of like, there are just those times where that just feels good to hear.
Yeah, the people's hero, right?
Exactly.
All right. So
last question.
Last question.
Yeah, you want me to take this one, Andy?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So this one's a favorite of mine. Every year, the Oxford Dictionary selects a word of the year, but there's another famous list maintained by the University in Michigan that tracks overused, misused, and generally annoying words and phrases that should be banished from the English language. In 2024, this list included things like hack, at the end of the day, and unfortunately, the word deep dive.
Deep dive.
What is the annual list called? Is it the Lake Superior State University Banished Words List? Is it the University of Michigan Language Offenders List? Or is it the Oxford Rejected Words Registry? Which already sounds like an acronym.
It does already, and I'm wanting to weight it because you mentioned Oxford in the lead up to the descriptor of it, but that would be too easy, right? I don't know. I'm gonna go just because it's been a while since I've been in Michigan. We used to go there to visit my cousins. I'm gonna go with the University of Michigan Language Offenders List. It sounds fun, and I want it to be that.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, the answer is unfortunately the Lake
Oh,
Superior State
3
University
for 3.
banished
Ooh,
words list.
Whiff,
We've all
whiff,
heard
whiff.
of Lake Superior State University. So, since 1976, this university's been collecting nominations from the public for words that deserve to be banished. Past winners include synergy, pivot, new normal, and circle back as well.
Circle back. That's good. I have this image, knowing Lake Superior gets a little cold in the wintertime, that they take all of these banished words and they put them on like a sled type of thing, and they just push them out into the middle of the lake and let them freeze and be banished.
So poetic.
And interestingly, SharePoint has never made the list. Just give it time.
Yeah. And only then in the community, if the word SharePoint was spelled with the lowercase p, we know that it would be banished. It gets banished in like 2 seconds if you type it wrong. If it's in branding, if it's deep in the heart of some documentation. So if it ever goes lower p, and that's by choice, it'll definitely get banished from the community.
Now, also interestingly, they did banish deep dive back in 2024. So I don't think they're going to be on our Christmas list this year, which is, bad news for us at 365 Deep Dive, as well as every Microsoft conference session title that's ever been written.
I was going to say that if you submitted for, since 2024, how many sessions do you think have been banished because they started with Deep Dive? Do you think it's a lot? What's the percentage?
Oh, I don't think I could
Way
even
more
use
than
agent mode and
54%.
Copilot for that to figure that number out. All right. So Mark Cashman, let's see how you did and tally up. How many out of 3 did he get right, Andy?
Unfortunately, Mark is going to be on the naughty list this year. He went 0 for 3.
Yeah, I felt like Casey went up to bat and did not hit a home run, but it was fun. And thank you for letting me swing and a miss and a swing and a miss and a swing and a miss.
Well, there is one more list we have to discuss, and can we get all of us back on the screen here? The last list that we actually need to discuss is the Microsoft MVP list. And Mark, we want to welcome you to the MVP community. You are now officially on the other side. One of us.
Thank you.
And we're happy to have you here.
I love being here, and it's filled and surrounded by people who have been charging the way, and I've been sending little asks and requests like, as an MVP, is this what you do? And that way, so expect questions, especially around the March timeframe. I might pull people aside and say, well, what should I do? So I'm very excited, looking forward to it, and it's great to be in the mix.
I can guarantee you the answer will be, it depends.
Wait until the last day to fill out your submissions.
Wait until the last day.
But he goes around the world a full year, right? He skips this July.
That's true. Yeah. You get your first year
period
off.
Yeah. I have logged everything, but then I was told, doesn't matter. You can just sit and hang back.
Yeah.
So
it's good practice.
But that was my first piece of advice that I got from Julie Turner. She said, write everything down, log it early, log it off.
If it's in your calendar, you can do it the day before. I've been doing it like that for 11 years.
Sorry, I'm trying to look shocked and surprised, Alistair, but also good advice.
I love it. So, Mark, you've been around for a lot of changes in M365 over your career. Do you have any thoughts on the state of things and where we might be headed in 2026?
Gosh, I hope this is a group question. I feel like
that's later. That's called the panel's predictions.
The one thing I like the best about some of the announcements, and I get to speak a little bit more freely than I used to, but the reality of a lot of these things is it's already there. There are so many things that have become new, and of course have gotten new capabilities and new branding or new whatever. But there are so many things that you can point to, and you can always point to the impetus of it, or the original service, or the original executable, or something, whether it was by acquisition or just something that became and evolved into a really useful tool. And the part about the cloud that then makes that easy is they can extend those things and connect them better. That's the positive side, where things like Microsoft Graph, that bore out what then became Delve, which then became more than Delve, and this whole dynamic experience.
Yeah.
But then the whole switching it on, switching it off, and extending it. So I think there's the roots of, especially with this crew and hopefully the audience as well, is there's such love for SharePoint and the SharePoint history. I can't remember who in the community once did. There used to be, of course, the SharePoint Pi of all of the workloads that it did.
Yeah.
And then somebody took that and expanded it to all of the, at the current time, services that they are now branded as their own products. So the social aspect, of course, became Yammer, became Engage. The Power BI, now started off as, I can't remember the acquisition's name, but Confluence, or I don't know, something like that. And so it's really interesting and exciting, all the new stuff. But when you trace the history of it, especially like the one you're kind enough to say I have some expertise in, is lists. Lists has been forever a part of SharePoint, and it was great to see it become its own thing, because the way that it got used and how it should evolve into a better user experience went that way. Now, maybe for everybody else, and myself included, there are some things that don't always go the right way or get shut down too soon or whatnot. But I love the genesis of the platform and how 25 years of something like a SharePoint platform is born out and evolved and lasted so long.
All right. Thank you for sharing those. And I think maybe we'll get you off the hook then for predictions, Mark.
No way.
Maybe not.
I got a fun one, but I can't wait to hear what others. And I also can't wait to see how other MVPs who know more than the common human being about what's to come taper and talk about things. That'll be interesting.
We might reset your expectations. We'll see. All right. So, Andy, you want to move on to a little chat about like the state of M365 for everyone?
Yeah, so we're going to do lightning fill in the blank in just a little while, kind of a speed run through a bunch of news announcements and updates. But we wanted to spend just a couple of minutes here with all of our esteemed guests and their expertise. And we wanted to dive into some of the news and announcements specifically across M365. Doesn't necessarily have to have a Copilot spin. We like to dig deep here at 365 Deep Dive, and we like to explore the fringes, as Mark says. We are live without a safety net, as you've seen in not only this show, but probably every episode for almost the last 5 years with John and I. So we're having a lot of fun doing this, quizzing our panelists back and forth. But now it's time to step back. Let's have a little bit of conversation, and let's talk about the state of M365 in 2025 as we get ready to transition into the new year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a big year for the platform. We've seen retirements, rebrands, price increases, AI everywhere across the board, more message center notifications than any human should have to process, even though Daryl and Daniel are doing their darndest to keep us up to date. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about like what stood out this year. Some of the highlights, the lowlights, and wait, they did what type of moments. You guys want to start with Copilot, kind of the obvious. It's been like the center of everything Microsoft has done this year. There's Copilot in Word, Excel, SharePoint, Copilot in your dreams. Is AI fatigue real, or is this actually delivering value for any of you guys in the real world? Curious your thoughts.
So I want to think about 2025 as the year that companies and executives and businesses started getting comfortable with AI and jumping on board. And I think that the demand is real. I think that unlike some of the other products we've talked about on this call so far, I think we're really going to see transformation in 2026, and it's because of the value prop that all of this has.
Yeah,
I'll add on to that. Long-time user adoption training educator. I built my whole career on that now, going back for 15 years. And many of you have contributed to that, whether you've known it or not, because I've been like reading your works and your content, as well as the works and content from the greater community. I have gotten more traction in the last 2 years with user adoption using Copilot as the carrot than I have in any other adoption campaign and metric that like we've ever tried before. This gets more people in the door, and very quickly when they get in the door, they realize that the core proficiency with just the Microsoft apps and service is a necessity in order to actually add Copilot to their workflow. You can't just sprinkle AI on top of something if you don't know what's available and how to use it and put it in the process of work. And so we've been able to do a lot of transformation, and we've got a lot of work to do, but it's getting people in the door. And now we can have conversations about, here's how you can better leverage SharePoint in your information architecture. Let's talk about cleaning up your permissions and oversharing. Did you know that this app connects to this app and you can do these things in this process and it'll save a whole bunch of time? And I don't have to sprinkle Copilot on any of that. But when I do, it adds even more value to that. So it's really been a carrot to get people into the conversation and then really start to talk about change management.
Yeah.
I think that's really fair. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Emily. No, the dog will go
I think
ahead.
that, I thought that was going to be the ones in my house, so I feel a lot better now. I think that I've seen a divide where previously bringing AI into the conversation just to keep up with tech advancing, a lot of that adoption hasn't been working. And the conversation is a lot more focused on being driven on outcome objectives now. And we are focusing on oversharing and that core information architecture. And now that we see AI honoring our metadata, there is a return to those core better practices that matter. And people are returning to them again. And we are seeing better AI implementations, which really does matter. And using SharePoint agents have been more effective, which has been fantastic to see. I'm excited to see a future where lists are effective in them as well. That's going to be great. And I do see a lot more excitement around creating agents again because of that metadata working and people going into scalability of using things like site templates and content type gallery, and a return to a focus on customized search as well, which is great.
Yeah.
Using AI to augment, not replace, essentially.
Well said.
Yeah, I'll take a different side on this, people. Just that, yes, I believe, to answer the question, there is AI fatigue. And I think where it comes from is, first of all, the whole world saying, oh, do we need to be part of this and understand this and use this? How do we, like this anxiety of, do I need to be on this train? And so everyone's frantically trying to get their mind around it, find useful ways to build this into their ways of working. It's deeply personal. Even though there's a collaborative aspect to it, it's mostly about me and Copilot and my digital assistant. But yeah, the fatigue part of it comes in the rapid pace of change. We thought that cloud software was fast with little iterations. Now we're seeing that button moves over here, this one's over here, and this version, all the apps that were pinned down the side and underneath here, this thing was auto, now it's not. There's just constant change in the landscape that, yeah, I think that's part of the fatigue of those who want to use it are trying to track this moving target. Those who just want to get on without the pop-ups, introducing new features to the software, are like, just get it out of my face, I want to find out where to turn it off. So just being realistic here, I may be talking different circles, but there's a group that want to use it, and they're like those nervous teenagers going, should I be involved? And those who say, just stop distracting me, I've got to get on with work.
Speaking along those lines, Copilot Chat free for all of your users. Do you think that's kind of a gateway drug? Getting people a little bit of a taste of Copilot in the hopes that they demand licensing from their businesses? Are you folks who are out in the field? Are you guys seeing more companies kind of react negatively to that and try to turn it off or get away from it? Or are you seeing it as a, well, let's try it out because it's low risk and it doesn't cost anything, and see if it's worth $30 a month to step up to something more premium? What are you guys seeing?
The way it's so front and center for
Really?
sure.
Yeah.
Taking over to what used to be the center of productivity and bubbling up all the apps and what you most recently worked on. It's a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it's landing in the way that you all had with the previous the guessing game of the center of gravity that Emily was just talking about. And if you're going to do that and you make it free, so it's super accessible and low bar to entry, but you don't do what other people were just talking about as far as push the how do you use the thing, or maybe more importantly, as a company, here's how we are going to use it. We don't expect you to be an AI expert. That's not the goal. But you can do X, Y, and Z, and we're going to start doing that. We have maybe no choice because it's right there. But if we're going to leave this thing on or turn more things on or eventually maybe purchase it so it's in more places, that plan for adoption certainly has to be there.
Yeah. Well, and I spend a lot of time talking to customers about identity security and governance, right? Stuff that happens in Purview and how you need to auth and zero trust. Every user in every organization that you have been exposed to is using AI today. Every user. Why? Because ChatGPT landed AI and people are using it to search and asking it for recipes. And they're getting a natural language query response, not a knowledge-based answer, not just a hitless relevance and the second page of Google. So everyone is using some AI. Perplexity, ChatGPT, Gemini, pick a flavor, it doesn't really matter, right? What the free version of Copilot gives organizations is a better way to curtail the mess of them using other AIs while being able to add the necessary security guardrails into giving them that. Right. Now, forget the agentic stuff and all this, reducing your time to value, agent to agent, and all the cool stuff. The sort of a low code to pro code when we get to Foundry. But right now, every user will open up their phone and they're getting inundated. Well, Apple Intelligence is not there, but every Android platform has got some flavor of AI, and users are using that. From the 19-year-olds that have just started getting into the organization, all the way through to people my age that wants a recipe for cooking chicken. We're using AI to search. The world's changed. Bringing that into business, not for search, because the free Copilot chat's not going to let you search your organizational data in the way that your license will be. But at least you get to govern and manage that. So I'm all for the free Copilot. A gateway drug into the $30. I think the $30 per user per month is massively valuable, but you're going to have to go to every user in every organization and ask them the same thing we've been asking them for the last 30 years in the process orchestration world. Hi, what is it that you do? What is your title? And can we map this and then do a technology mapping to say that the GPT-like experience is going to reduce your time to value in your organization? We've been doing that for 30 years. That's not going to change. You still need to do that. Give everyone can have cake. Give them the Copilot chat experience because it's much more governable than trying to connect Anthropic or one of those platforms and manage it better.
On the
security reasons
I think
alone,
there's
I completely agree. Keep it in-house.
Yeah.
I think there's two big exceptions to the generic AI adopters. I come from a fine art background, and I think that audience is really resistant to jumping on the bandwagon with ChatGPT because it's a big, it feels like a big threat to, I guess, their IP. And I also see people in the environmentalist groups being really resistant to AI as well, just from a resource perspective. So I would say I don't see those people using it at all either. So I totally agree with your points outside of those audiences.
And I completely understand the concerns of those audiences. On the kind of flip side of that, two things I want to add to this. On Copilot Chat for free, it was a little rocky with the rollout and the messaging and like how it kind of landed, and it was a little unclear. But honestly, in Microsoft marketing, you guys can tune out for a minute because I don't want you to hear what I'm about to say. I'm surprised at how much functionality they're actually giving for free. It's surprisingly more than people realize. When you really dig into it, like the free users, not only do you get as a standalone app experience, the artist formerly known as office.com, but you can natively link to your content in OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams. It's just a manual effort, but then you can bring that into a search query. You can bring that into a conversation, and they're now bringing that into the sidebar of a lot of the apps that you work with every single day. So you don't get the native in-app integration. There's a few bells and whistles that you don't get, but you get a ton of functionality with just that free SKU, like right away. It's now free being an asterisk here. You have to have a Microsoft license of some kind in order to work with it.
Sure.
On the other, the second part of that, I would argue that I understand the environmental concerns. I understand the creative endeavors and the concerns that that are there. But I look at it like time is one of our most precious resources. And if I can give people Copilot and give them a few minutes of their day back, maybe to walk the dog, maybe to spend some more time with the kid, maybe to offload some of, what we call work these days, digging through mailboxes and things like that. I think the time back to people is a resource that we don't really consider in those conversations. And I would argue that that's a pretty big resource that people could benefit from. Could we do this more efficiently? Absolutely. But with any technology, there's a starting point, and then we get better and better at it. We make it more efficient. And at some point, we'll hopefully start to not need as much compute and GPU and, server farms and things like that. So it's early days with like any of this technology.
I want to +1 the sidebar. I mean, that's a great hack. If you don't have the $30 Copilot chat, it's great for generative AI and bringing in your Office documents.
Yeah. Meets you where you work, right in the flow of work. I love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I want to bring up one thing, and this is going to segue us into the next kind of talking point, like with our all of our guests here. We talked a little bit about Copilot memory, but there's also work IQ. Work IQ, in 2 words, helpful or creepy? How are you looking at work IQ?
I've heard some people saying, hey, it's just a rebrand or rename of the Graph API. I'm curious if there's folks who agree with that or who are taking umbrage at that fact. I've heard a little bit of like, nothing's really changed here.
I'm gonna jump into that because I think it is, whether it's a rebrand or not, it certainly is a new brand of something that I think mostly like 80% existed already. And I'm an advocate for calling something new if people understand it better and see the value of what was there. I think it was a little bit of a cheat when they said it's not the Graph because Graph is just for developers. That's totally false. That's one of those where you can cross it out quickly. The Graph, in ways that it was described before, was a big end user value, very personalized too. You have your own Graph when you sign into Microsoft 365, and it knows who you are, what you work on, the things that you do that are relevant to you. And it's this fantastic tool that sort of, for some reason, gets talked about less and less over time. So the rebrand sort of pushed Microsoft Graph to be just the developer's tool. I don't think that's true. What it did bring with it, which I think is a value, is the things you talked about before, the Copilot memory. Some of the new things that they've recently added to Copilot that just follows you around at some user level better. So maybe giving it a new nebulous name just helps people understand there's this valuable resource behind that you should turn on or leave on or at least consider or turn off for all the right reasons. But I that was the only thing I didn't like, is that the graph kind of became a little less of the infographic that you could imagine probably got put out there or talked about in a different way. I'd love to see the graph carry forward with the value that it's had for quite some time.
Agree with that. And I think what we're going to see is, with a lot of the frontier agents that are starting to come out, skills, it's bringing together all of that contextual tacit knowledge that exists in different pockets of your M365 experience. And it's going to start to enrich your own experience when you're producing, when you're writing emails, however you're leveraging generative AI. It's going to start infiltrating and bringing those things into your experience, and also allowing you to connect and bring people together, and find out, do that skills tagging that is kind of elusive, right? Like, you have it in Workday, you have it in your profile, you want people to list their skills out, you need a taxonomy to do that. This is going to help generate a lot of that intelligence, those common terms, controlled vocabulary that people can then leverage to describe what they do. So I think knowledge management really stands to benefit a great deal from all this. I know I went there. I'm sorry. I said the word.
You said a few things. You said tacit, right? And it's like, I know 3 other people that have said the word tacit in the last 10 years. Me being one of them, Rebecca Isaacson the other one, and now you're the third person to say tacit and codified knowledge, right? And then you talk about tagging and expertise, and then you said the big word, right? Knowledge management. And I was like, okay. I am awake. I'm here for all of it. But if it's going to automate everything that we struggled with, right? Because that's the promise, right? Expertise. Did anyone bother filling that in SharePoint? We've had it since the dawn of time. It's been there, right? Nobody bothered. I knew one company that did it, and it was a petrochemical company, and they needed to find an expert that understood viscosity in a mine in the DRC for lubricants for the mine. And they used it that way. I don't know of any other company that used expertise. But if work IQ and memory is going to remember everything about your interaction with the platform and use that to surface knowledge back to the organization in a uniform fashion, then it's magic. Then everything we've been talking to customers about, codified knowledge and all of those things, we now have a tool to build that, right, for us, including populating metadata. So it's fair, yes, I'll take it.
So, go ahead, Emily.
Yeah. Remember when everyone thought Delve was creepy?
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Right? Like
our transition points.
Right. So we used that. We had access to discover people and documents. Well, that was the graph surfacing that content. And we rebranded that to Viva Insights, right? And we wanted to understand our patterns in productivity. This is kind of the same thing. And we're just continually rebranding this ability to surface what we all have access to.
Yeah. And a lot of people have reacted from a point of uncomfortability, right? Because it sounds great for the business, but not so great for me personally, or me representing a workers' council or something like that. So it's sometimes like some groups want to be a little bit more cautious, right? Diving into that.
It comes up when it's Microsoft Forms, right? And I think it's so funny when, we're talking about anonymous surveys, and we all know when we're interacting online that nothing's anonymous. And we also know we want things to be frictionless and easy. And when we log into a Microsoft form and it says, "Hi, Emily," suddenly someone's annoyed that I don't have to put in my name. But also, we know that when we log in, it has our information. So it's this weird interaction of Big Brother, but we don't want to be helped out. So what do we want? It seems a little bit hypocritical all the time.
Forms, though, is a very interesting app because there's limited admin controls. There's limited auditing controls. I don't know that there's a product group to actually like interact with. Like, who owns it? Everybody at Microsoft's like, we don't know. You know, it's like, it's there, but we don't really know who the wizard behind the curtain is that's like pulling the strings on it. And it's gotten so helpful over the years. But like, who's driving the development where it does bring some personalized personalization to the experience? Who's driving it to inject Copilot into it, to connect it to Microsoft Lists, which, by the way, was one of my favorite features. Not having to go directly from Forms to Power Automate to Lists. Now it's just like sprinkled on top, which chef's kiss. That's awesome. But like that's one that kind of existed in like a black hole. That one's we use it all the time in the healthcare industry, and it is both the most amazing app and the most frustrating app because of the lack of things like the admin controls and the product groups and interactivity. I'm going to get off my tangent now, but I'm glad you mentioned that. I do want to transition us a little bit, though, because we did mention a couple of things in this conversation that I think they're really insightful. So we talked about, is Work IQ a rebranding of the graph experience? Is it a rebranding of Delve? Is it a rebranding of recent and relevant search results? You know, those red flags that cause executives to, or those products that cause executives to run into our office like every 5 years, and like, why am I seeing this thing? And like the oversharing concerns all over. But we've seen a lot of retirements and goodbyes in 2025 as well. We've seen some of our apps and services friends that have moved on, that either have been not supported or sent to the Microsoft retirement community. Delve, we just mentioned. Skype, we talked about a little bit earlier, as well as like SharePoint pages. And there's some other features that have left us as well, like the shared with us feature in SharePoint team sites. How about our good friend SharePoint alerts? It's on the way out. We've had
Publisher is going to get the axe
over the
next year.
SharePoint Designer Workflows. That one's been pretty painful.
Viva Goals.
Viva Goals
Viva
is coming,
Goals.
right? Happy New Year. Bye, Viva
Viva
Goals.
Topics.
Topics.
Don't ruin our lightning round.
Yeah.
Jeez
Rest in
Louise.
peace.
So
That one's a tough one.
All right, I'm going to reserve the one that I was so mad. This was just as I was on my way out, and I was the product manager for it. I helped launch it, and I won't say it because of what you just said, John. But there's one that maybe the most sad this year.
Well, maybe I'm baiting you, baiting everyone too
You got to
much.
tell
Like,
us now, Mark. You got to tell us.
any features that we actually miss, you know, like just some thoughts about like Skype's legacy, or I think a big one is Publisher. You know, is there still people relying on it? I know I don't know the names of people relying on Publisher, but like, gosh, every church secretary in America probably is still using Publisher 2003 or something, right?
I had a twice a year use case for Microsoft Publisher. I had at one time created those two-fold little cards, that you can make. And I had already formatted a little happy birthday card for my son and my daughter. And then I would always put unique whatever something. So I'm not a designer, so it did the hard work for me. And then I would just do the fun, writing and a graphic. And then I'd hit print, I'd fold it twice, and then I'd put it on their pillow in the morning.
So what's the plan now? Use Copilot Create or
Canva?
Spin up a Canva.
Oh, don't do
I think I got to learn something new.
Yeah. I'm sure do agent mode in Excel. It'll probably do it for you.
Okay.
Do the fold lines just right. Hey, I did pixel art in Excel agent mode. That's like one of the funnest demos. Like, make a picture of a cat and then watch the agent go click and resize cells and make a cat pixel art with Excel cells.
And do you watch the water boil as the data center tries to cool down your new graphic?
I did this demo in front of a bunch of financial industry executives a few weeks ago. It was like a fake 5-year financial thing. I was like, let's do this.
So I've got a couple retirements to throw in the conversation. The Bing Chat feature for testing prompts. I think they called it like Bing Chat Notebooks. I did a video on it, blew up. It was great. I love that feature. And then unceremoniously, bam, gone. And I loved it because you could literally just iterate the prompt, see the result, iterate the prompt, see the result. And it wasn't a conversation. It was literally a one-off for you to just like tweak the prompt over and over and over and see the results like right there in real time. No friction of like new conversations. Granted, that was a little right around the time we transitioned to Copilot Chat. That one was kind of painful for me. Our PowerPoint people are going to freaking love this one. The reuse slide feature got replaced by Copilot. I still don't understand how I'm supposed to use Copilot to reuse slides from like the other presentations like seamlessly. I'm back to copy and paste. Maybe I'm just not getting it, but that one I feel like was a little painful as well.
Yeah.
You know that Excel is an esport.
It is. I am going to talk to somebody in January. So I do like a what's new and next at EY. One of our employees competed in the Excel e-games competition, and I'm going to interview him in early January.
South Africa won, by the way. We won.
You won.
We ought to go.
So it's countries competing then?
Yeah, it was the World Champs in Vegas. We won.
Really?
It's the only reason why I know about it. Because one of the data platform MVPs, it's part of his team that went across, and they came back with a trophy.
We need to go talk to our friend Steven Rose because he's been the host of the Excel World Championships for like the last couple of years. We should get him and maybe some of our Excel MVPs on a show in 2026, John, and geek out over Excel. All right. Go ahead, Mark.
It's a short one. It's just
I want to hear it.
The sadness that I saw coming, and then of course was just sad as an individual because I used it all the time. But it is the Microsoft List mobile apps. They were really good. They were really functional. They weren't just an afterthought. They were well designed, super functional to get an idea. You just throw it into a list, not put it into OneNote and then put it into a list later. You just do it directly. And there was a really fun demo, but use case where you could have an image column and you could snap a picture on your phone and it would put it into the image column very effectively, the way that you would want to have an image in a list. So RIP mobile list.
We used that at Cerner. So you might remember this, maybe not. Before we knew each other personally, Mark, you helped my organization, Cerner, in medical conversation. One of the main things when we rolled out SharePoint and rolled out Yammer and Microsoft Teams, one of the biggest wins that got somebody in was we found out the biggest usage of a list type of thing that wasn't in SharePoint was a classified ads. And so what we did was we rolled out the official SharePoint list for the classified so people could sell things to each other. And we used that image column and used the List mobile app for, look, I can take a picture of this thing and post it to the classifieds and then somebody over there can buy it from me. And I tell you what, it was the highest used SharePoint site at Cerner for like the first 18 months of our journey into M365. So
amazing.
Maybe you feel vindicated a little bit. You helped us.
I can only just, what would it take pre of the new forms? What would it take to really do that without the mobile apps like that? I know that we all probably can come up with a solution. It's probably a Power App thing that loads really slowly and may or may not work. And it's put into another list backend. And
it's just App Builder now, right?
Yeah.
We don't have enough time to talk about App Builder.
So on that bombshell, we need to transition to lightning fill in the blanks. And we want to leave all of our panelists enough time for their panelist predictions for 2026. So lightning fill in the blanks is up next. We're going to stay right here in this view. Everybody's on camera. We all seem to be here. No technical issues. John and I are going to read out a couple of, we're going to read out a question. Panelists can answer. If you don't know, say pass. We're going to give the answer. And the point of this section is to just blast through as many of the news announcements and updates as we can for 2025. Just for recap, we might make a short out of this a little bit later on. So feel free to add to that however you want, but we're
got
going to go
30
ahead
on
and
the
dive
list.
into it. Spend a couple minutes here, and then we're going to take it home with our panelists to predictions.
All right. You want to kick us off, Andy? I think we're going to do 5 at a time, right?
Yep,
Switch
I'll
back
go
and
through the
forth.
first 5, and we'll go from there. So, lightning, fill in the blank. Number 1, what is the Microsoft 365 app now called?
Copilot desktop app.
I think
Close.
I think you already said it. It's the Microsoft 365 Copilot app or page or
One
There
to
you
Mark.
go.
Hub, et cetera, et cetera.
Maybe next year.
yeah. The bookmark that you
up.
don't need to keep as a bookmark.
Right.
Yes, M365 Copilot app. Next up, when you go to office.com, where are you redirected today?
Daryl says office.com, but it's m365.cloud.microsoft.
Good one, Andy.
Correct. Next up, what is the intelligence layer for Copilot called?
Work
The Microsoft graph. We're just going to stay that. No branding, no rebrand. It's the graph.
Mark
No.
has drawn a line in the sand. We're going to get it on a t-shirt.
Work IQ does not exist. It is just
Yes,
crap.
the intelligence layer for Copilot is called Work IQ. Next up, what feature lets Copilot remember your preferences?
Copilot memory.
Copilot memory.
Correct, Copilot memory. This feature was an add-on, but now is available for all Copilot licenses.
And it likes green eggs and ham.
Sam,
I am.
That's right, SAM, SharePoint Advanced Management.
All right. Next is what SharePoint VR feature was retired in August 2025? Spaces. Yes.
Along
What is
with
the
the
new? Yes. What is the new simplified sharing link called?
Emily, sing it.
Emily.
I am a hero.
Wonderful. All right. Next, what new SharePoint web part auto generates Q&A content?
Oh, the FAQ web part.
FAQ. Yeah.
Pretty sweet. Yeah.
That's a great
Yeah.
one. If you want to do
That's
a
one of my
hands-off,
favorites.
the best hands-off demo you can do. You just get it started and then
I love watching it pop in all the different layers, and people who have done an FAQ web part with the collapsible sections in the past, they are like just floored every time I show that demo, because I have suffered that hours and hours of building that, one section at a time. What a beautiful web part.
Do you yourself become a collapsible section after building collapsible
I do.
sections?
I just collapse into a pile on the floor. All right. When is Microsoft Publisher scheduled for retirement? Does anyone know?
Has it been published yet?
It has been.
Oh.
And
Are they going to be unpublished?
whoosh.
I think it is next year. It's not this year.
It is next year, October 2026.
Fall.
So, Mark, you've got a little bit more time.
In the fall.
And any
Yeah.
more birthdays you can get in
They're
there?
early. They're
Yeah,
April and
squeeze 'em
May.
in.
So
There you
early
go.
There you
April,
go.
May. So I got one more round.
What are AI assistants built from SharePoint content called? AI assistant
SharePoint-
built from SharePoint.
SharePoint
SharePoint
agents.
SharePoint
Little A.
agents.
Little A.
Yeah, I've got a capital A, but yes.
All right, next
right.
up. What Teams feature provides real-time speech-to-speech translation?
Interpreter.
Interpreter.
Point to Emily.
Nice.
Viva Topics. When is its retirement?
It happened.
In the past.
February.
Anybody remember when?
February, I was going to say it was earlier.
It was this year, yeah.
When will Viva Goals be retired?
That one is Happy New Year.
Yeah, right
That one I
before
know.
Yeah,
your
it's
New
December
Year's goals.
31st, right?
Sad New Year.
Yeah.
December 31st, 2025.
Here's a little trivia. What is it going to be called for the person that started and launched it as ally.io? They now have it transition, not with Microsoft, but as an external company. Does anybody know the name of the new company that
No.
Vetri Valor just started because of the retirement? It's called rhythms.ai. Random.
Interesting. .ai, huh? So hip.
This show will now show up on every single AI search when somebody asks that question. All right, next up. What app replaced Project for the web in August of 2025?
Microsoft To Do. Oh, sorry, Excel, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It's a database.
Almost.
One more time.
Got it.
What
It's gotta
app
be
released project for the
Planner?
web
Planner.
in August of 2025? Planner.
Yeah.
All right. And then what team's AI meeting assistant manages agendas and takes notes on your behalf?
Facilitator.
Yes.
Me?
One of my
My
favorites.
favorites. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. What team's channel feature lets you reply to specific messages in a channel?
Threads.
I hate this one. Thread.
You don't like this view.
Emily, explain.
I hate it.
Daryl has a great video
Oh
on
man,
it.
it
Maybe you should watch
defects
that.
to it. Oh my gosh. I just really honestly I think it's so not intuitive and awkward.
I have
Like a new
missed
outfit,
I have
right?
missed a couple of things because of that
Hmm.
feature. You know, it's tiny
Yeah, I
little
really
text that
don't like
says there are other replies. And if you don't see those, then
I do rely on having either been mentioned or said something in it, and then all of a sudden I'm following that thread. So now I get, alerts about it. I will say once I've engaged with a thread, I'm more engaged with it, right? Because it lets me know something else is happening. Where a lot of times I do tend to kind of like say something in a channel and then I would lose it, right? I would lose all the follow-ups after that. Yeah. I think it's also kind of like from if people are like a Discord type of person, there was like threading within Discord, but I hardly ever see that used, but I'm glad when somebody does because it kind of filters the chaos of a Discord server for me.
The only time I ever used it in Discord was with Midjourney when I wanted to create an image based off of like another image. And so I would go into a thread and use it there, but I never used it in any other conversation.
Look, it's Teams picking up the Slack feature.
Hey-o.
I was gonna say Alistair might be concerned with the thread detection. In security.
Whoa. All right. What Ignite 2025 early access program features new Copilot agents? What's the name of the early access program?
I feel like this one does
the final
Frontier. Somebody said Frontier.
Is it the final frontier?
Yeah.
Now, quick
final
survey. Who likes the term frontier firm?
No.
Anybody?
I don't have a problem with it.
I like the
just
program.
turn it
Yeah,
off for all
I
of my
have a
users
problem
that are not in it.
Yeah. Well,
I can switch it off now.
I think I don't like the assumption that everyone is a frontier firm or should be a frontier firm, because not every firm should be.
Yeah.
Not everyone can handle the bleeding edge. There's a lot of change.
Shareholder value, right? Shareholder value. And Microsoft shareholders. So everyone needs to be a frontier firm. Sure. I can say that.
All right. What is the agent governance framework called?
Agent 365.
Of course. What else would it possibly be?
All right. Governance framework, and it's a lot of bullshit. Sorry. I'm massively annoyed by how they go, Agent 365 is new. No, it's been there. They've just moved it. And now they can do stuff, which is cool. But DSPM for AI is the real governance framework. Not this.
When they say Agent 365, I feel like Timothy Oliphant's gonna like enter into my tenant and he's gonna have like his head shaved and he's wearing like a suit and tie.
Nice deep cut from the 365 deep dive guy.
Oh yeah, that's what we do here. What planner AI assistant automates task creation? Speaking of deep cuts, anybody use this feature? This is Project Manager Agent.
Oh,
who has used that? When you create a new plan.
License dependent.
Somewhat, yeah. For some of the features inside of it.
A planner, which was Project for Web, right? So you need a Planner P2 license in order for Project Manager. It's a premium template or random weird names that they used to use. If you don't have it, that Project Manager template doesn't show up in Planner that you can click on.
I think it should have been called To Done.
Done.
and
Ta-da.
and have like the Netflix, sound behind it. Ta-done.
Ooh, I like that.
All right. Just a couple more, and then we're going to do our panelist predictions. So, what Outlook feature lets you create internal newsletters?
I think this is called newsletters.
Newsletters. And what's it powered by?
It's not a SharePoint page or news article.
Right?
Yeah, what? Like,
isn't it powered by
like
SharePoint?
what a shame
But stored
that
in
news
Exchange.
posts are
No,
news digest and this is
I think
newsletters. Like, what are we doing?
Isn't it stored in a SharePoint-y thing, but it's not a SharePoint thing?
SharePoint space.
No, you're
Oh,
right.
yeah.
It is stored in
SharePoint
SharePoint,
embedded.
but yeah, it's stored in SharePoint embedded, but it's using Exchange for
And no
generation.
one knows what's in SharePoint embedded.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right.
Fine.
I live in hidden storage.
For the
That's
sake
my-
of time, I'm just
my
going to
thing.
skip and hit like 3 more, and we'll wrap this one up. What Teams feature improves transcript accuracy with custom terms?
It's another deep cut.
Has anyone used it?
Custom dictionaries.
Oh, I was going to say best bets, but
Yep.
Something to look into during
All right.
winter
And
break.
these last 3 are going to take us home. What feature creates podcast style meeting summaries?
Audio
overview.
recaps.
Love audio
Love these.
recap.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
This company's
Very
AI
good.
models will be available starting in January 2026 as part of Copilot for Microsoft 365.
Google Gemini?
Anthropic?
Anthropic.
I think it's in
Oh.
the
It's
Claude.
available.
Deep Sea.
Available, but they fixed the weirdness because you can turn it
It
on.
will, right?
So Claude
it
will be
will fix the
available as
weirdness,
part of
yeah.
your existing
Disclaimer.
BAA, which means your data will be under the same data agreement,
Yeah.
but now as a subcontractor, you're going to be able to use Anthropic's
Sub-processor,
models
yes.
from Claude as part of your M365 Copilot experience. And the last 2 to take us home are, what is Microsoft's new animated blob character called?
Mhm. This one I know because I made a
You
I
know
made
this
a
one?
I made a silly joke about it. That I was eating.
I can't imagine that from you, Mark.
I know. But I was eating. I was at a Mexican restaurant, and the person I was with was also techie. So I said, "Look, Mico de Gallo." It was very timely, and also you didn't have to be there. And we'll just leave it at that.
And Mark, I'm going to let you take this last one. What is Miko short for?
Oh gosh, mitochondria? I don't know.
Microsoft Copilot.
Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
a great one. I did not know that.
It's a copyright infringement. We had a company back in 1999 called MI Components, and when there was a buyout, a management buyout, we rebranded it to Micro. So I'm sorry. I'm going to let my friends know, and they can sue Microsoft.
Interesting. Well,
I'm glad that our live stream will be subpoenaed for that.
All right. We want to thank everybody for the participation in the lightning round. Hopefully all of our audience joined in, learned something new, got some of that review for 2025. Now we're into our panelist predictions, and this is going to take us home. So we spent the last couple of hours looking back at M365 and everything that Microsoft threw at us in 2025, but now it's time to look ahead. So it's time for our panelists to put their reputations on the line and make their bold predictions for 2025. And to be clear, we will be replaying these clips at the end of next year to see who got it right, with your permission, of course, and who got it spectacularly wrong. So no pressure, but we're going to start with our panelists. Jill, I'm going to put you on the spot first. What is your bold prediction for 2026?
Okay. I think the makers are having their moment. I think they are producing agents. I think everyone's tenant count of agents are skyrocketing and growing exponentially every week. So my big prediction is observability and governance is going to become a really hot topic. And so will Agent 365 deliver? What gaps will we find? How will people request new features? I think it's going to be a really interesting time for observability of agents. So that's my prediction.
All right.
Excellent. Daryl, what's your prediction for next year?
Well, little backstory on this one. I am rewatching Star Trek: The Next Generation. I am convinced that the product groups are all Star Trek fans. They all like to talk to their computer and get things to be made. So I think that there's going to be more vibe coding, vibe working, vibe whatevering by talking to Copilot.
All right.
All right. Al, you're up next.
Harman Kardon in the flesh.
Is that your Cortana speaker?
Cortana's going to make a comeback.
Oh yeah.
My prediction.
Cortana is making a comeback in 2026.
We'll see about that.
I hear that
Emily
thing makes a really good milkshake too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, turn that into a shaker bottle.
Shaker, not
Emily, you kicked us off today as our first guest. What's your prediction?
I think there is going to be a return to a lot of human-generated content and a refocus on people building their intranets and writing content and essentially ensuring that what we're writing is more authentic and less of a reliance on having AI create it and summarize it as we feel that AI fatigue.
Good one. I have been seeing a bit of that, especially in the the art space. Like I listen to a lot of like lo-fi type music. I enjoy that, and it's just overrun with AI slop. I found like such a fun channel, and I feel terrible because I forgot their name, but it's a guy and his girlfriend and their like puppy, like golden retriever, sitting in a park, and he's just making lo-fi music with a guitar and like a sampler and like doing like loops and stuff, and it's all human made, no AI, lo-fi, and it's wonderful. It just it's as good as anything else that I listen to. But it's nice to look up and see a human making it. Yeah, very authentic. I love that. So, Mark, you've been in the SharePoint trenches for decades. What does your crystal ball say?
So I'm going to put on my Wayback hat and have great hope for this, because in the market today, RAM is very expensive. RAM, we know memory is very expensive. And we know that PowerPoint is a giant memory hog, right? Can we all agree? So I think, as my prediction, Microsoft Sway is going to make a comeback with a couple of caveats.
Oh boy.
Microsoft Sway is going to get stored like Whiteboard and Loop in SharePoint Embedded. Thank you, Jill, for making that happen. And the big thing about it is it's going to get rebranded from Sway to Sways with an S. Sways.
Oh, not with a Z?
Maybe with a Z. I was just thinking, with lists and lists, teams and teams, I think Sway's making a comeback. Idea. That's my prediction.
Okay, well, you heard it first here. So Andy, you've been chronicling all of these ecosystems all year long. What's your prediction?
All right, so here's mine. Contoso's Megan Bowen will make a spectacular resurgence in 2026 in a new role with Zava. And all I want to say on that is, who can talk about Zava at a time like this? Megan Bowen is missing. After all these years of loyal service, attending every fake meeting, every sample email, and about 10,000 Microsoft demos, she's ready for the next chapter. I think she's going to be heading over to Zava, and let's be honest, I think Contoso is going to be okay. They've got Adele Vance, they got Alex Wilbur. They're going to be able to hold down the fort over there. And while Megan was Contoso, I think this is going to send shockwaves through all the demo community.
I like that.
John.
On Sways.
Okay, my turn.
That's the announcement. It's going to get put out on a Sway.
All right, John, it's time for your panelist prediction for 2026.
All right, my prediction is, you've seen the new switcher in Copilot chat where you can go to auto or quick answer or think deeper. I'm expecting a comedy mode where Copilot will develop a sense of humor, and I'm predicting that it will start to proactively deliver dad jokes to you, such as, say your meeting gets moved to like later on 3 p.m. in the day on a Friday, and it just lets you know, don't worry, time flies. So that's my prediction is dad joke
where
mode.
it's been trained from.
Is it gonna have a little? Is it gonna have a little drum machine?
Yeah, maybe Miko will pop up and play a little rim shot for you. I love that.
All right, folks. So that's our show. We made it through an entire year of Microsoft 365 news, announcements, updates, retirements, rebrands, and even price increases. And somehow we're still here, still managing our tenants, explaining SharePoint permissions, and still pretending like we know what agentic actually means.
Speak for yourself, Andy. I've been agentic before it was cool.
So before we go, we want to thank our incredible panelists and our guests and our speakers for joining us tonight. So thank you to Jill, Daryl, to Alistair, to Emily, and to Mark for joining us here for this round robin show. We had a ton of fun putting it together. We hope you enjoyed being here with us. And Mark, even though you went 0 for 3 and you're on the naughty list, appreciate your participation.
Absolutely. It was fun. Whether you win or lose, you always win when you're on 3.6 Deep Dive.
But most importantly, we want to thank everybody out in the Microsoft community for watching and listening. This is why we do this show, is to engage with you and the community, is to continue to push ourselves to learn more, is to continue to engage with our colleagues in the community and continue to grow. So we couldn't do this without you. So whether you're an admin, a Teams champion, whether you're one of our Power Platform makers, a Copilot early adopter, whether you're one of our publisher people, or maybe you even sway this way and that, we want to thank you for everything that you do, because you're what makes the community great. You're what makes the Microsoft community the best community in tech, because it's not just about the community. It's about people. It's the people that show up. It's the people that take 2 hours out of their work or of their holiday time or their work day to sit here with John and I as we spend 2 hours deep diving live without a safety net through everything Microsoft 365.
All right. Thank you all. I hope that no matter how you celebrate around the world, I hope that this time, is restful for you and everybody can take a step back, take a deep breath, get ready for 2026. And we'll see you in the new year in January with another 365 deep dive.
So if you enjoyed it, make sure you like and subscribe, tell a friend, bring a friend along. Don't forget M365 in Miami coming up in February. Make sure you're there. I know many of us are going to be at the Microsoft 365 Community Conference coming up in Orlando in the summer. We hope to see you there. Any other plugs, any other shout outs from our panelists?
Community Days, DC will be end of January.
Oh, good one. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Digital Workplace Conference in February and on Christchurch, New Zealand.
Oh, excellent.
So this has been Wait, Don't Prompt Me, a 365 deep dive production and a loving parody of a show that we all love, NPR's Wait, Don't Tell Me. Once again, we want to give a huge thank you to Doug Berman, the supreme overlord of Wait, Don't Tell Me, and the entire team for creating a show that inspired us so. I'm Andy Honeycutt.
I'm John Moore.
And this has been your 2025 Microsoft Year in Review. Happy holidays, everybody. We'll see you in 2026.
Thanks.
Well done.